Thank you. And also, this school is put on by the Arizona State Fire Training Committee. That's a group of people who volunteer their time from industry, department, or business. I'd like, before I introduce them, I'd like to have you know that what they do is throughout the year, they go out and they work with the instructors to get the classes scheduled. So this is the State Fire Training Committee on your right. If you could stand, folks. And now, our favorite fire marshal of the state of Arizona.
I'm sure you'll be around for most of the day. With that, Bob, I'm not sure you want to do the plaques now. We have an opportunity to do some, and if, Bob, if you'll come up here very much.
Thank you.
You bet. That's great. We've got a little small plaque and a shirt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Another one that announced it's time to move on from the training committee, has been there a long time, is an old friend of mine, Manny Martinez. Manny's been on the committee for about 5 years, and from Phoenix Fire, and we thank.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
John Martin, and Flagstaff Fire Chief Dean Treadway. Both men were career firefighters. Both believed that education was of primary importance. Sadly, both men passed away a short time ago. John Martin began his career with the Mesa Fire Department, retiring as a captain with 20-plus years of service. Motorola immediately hired him, and eventually John was promoted to safety engineer.
A program put on by United Fire. And with that, we have Dan Matlick from United Fire here to take over at this time and go over the program. Dan? It's all yours, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
Good, I got the hook.
All right. They never forget. Good morning. It's a privilege to stand here today in front of so many elite individuals as we celebrate the opening of this year's Arizona State Fire School. I couldn't imagine a better place to be right now, even if my life depended on it. Now that's a phrase that really has some meaning at this gathering, doesn't it? This school represents a commitment, your commitment, to better prepare yourself to save lives. Lives do depend on you. And just as the ranks grow at this school each year, so do the demands and challenges that face firefighters like yourselves. Changing technology has certainly played a part in the new challenges you face. For example, all a person has to do is surf the internet to find a way to make a devastating bomb. Add to this the often erratic and destructive forces of Mother Nature, and it's comforting to know that we have courageous people like the folks I see in front of me here, that have dedicated themselves to help balance the scales. Last year, as I stood at this very podium, I had the honor of introducing you to United Fire's first ever Firefighter of the Year. Last year's winner, Mark Freeman, epitomized a theme I believe is central to all of you here: preparedness. Mark was prepared to save a person's life when it was necessary. Without a doubt, being prepared is important in most realms of endeavor. A basketball team must be prepared to beat a tough opponent. A high school student must be prepared for a test in order to get a good grade. But for all of you, being prepared means much more. You're called firefighters, and yes, you do fight fires. But what you're prepared for is fighting for life. In what ways does a firefighter need to be prepared? Some answers are obvious: physical stamina, reasoning ability, equipment operation. Other answers are more intangible. A firefighter has to be ready with the inner resources to comfort a victim. And it's important, I believe, for a firefighter to be prepared to face these challenges with a sense of humor. Humor, after all, replenishes the spirit and keeps us from being overwhelmed by the potential dangers and obstacles we face each day. This preparedness readies firefighters to deal with a broad spectrum of emergencies like hazardous materials, technical rescues, EMS, and of course, firefighting. But wait, there's more. Code enforcement, loss prevention, arson investigation, and yes, even the proverbial cat in the tree, or for those of us here in Arizona, snake removal. I won't even mention the countless false alarms that you all know and love. As you face these and other types of challenges, you're continuously being pushed to the limit of your craft. Sadly, this year has been filled with terrible deaths and massive destruction. Around the world and at home, we've seen emergency skills being put to the test over and over again. I'm constantly impressed by the many abilities of responders to emergencies. I'm proud to be associated with you. Now, as you know, I'm here to introduce the winner of United Fire's second annual Firefighter of the Year. By performing an act of bravery or by making an exceptional contribution to the advancement of life safety and education, our winner has, in a generic sense, earned the public's respect. Today, our winner will get the public's recognition. Courage, patience, selflessness, dignity, humor. It's characteristics like these that make our winner worthy of great recognition. These are characteristics shared by all of you. We are, in fact, honoring firefighters, heroes everywhere with this award. It's your individual efforts that make the fire service a stronghold. As I use the word hero, I realize it's somewhat ambiguous. Heroes are often portrayed as above pain and suffering. You know this isn't true. Heroes don't usually set out to be heroes. In your profession, for example, danger is always a possibility. Firefighters speeding through city streets never know exactly what they'll face when they reach their final destination. The concept of being labeled a hero is never given a thought. Today, however, we are going to label one of your peers a hero. This is an individual whose dedication, selflessness, and determined spirit will no longer go unrewarded. But first, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the many individuals and organizations that make this award presentation possible. I'd like to thank Dwayne Pell, our State Fire Marshal, for his valuable support. Also, a special thanks to Bob Costello, our State Fire Training Director. Bob's perpetual dedication to the advancement of life safety and education is legendary. And believe me, he sets the standards when fire education is the topic of discussion. I would also like to thank Chairman Bob Ward and the entire Fire Training Committee for their support and for allowing us to make this presentation here today. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to our group of judges who perhaps had the most difficult job of all. It was their task to select today's winner from the group of deserving nominees. Our judges this year were Gary Ells, John Heil, Scott Yeager, George Leach, and John Mayhall. And by the way, to help them maintain total impartiality, individual and organization names were removed from the nominees. Thank you, judges, for a job well done. Okay, I've left you hanging long enough. Let's see who our winner is. The 1995 winner is Ward Flager of the Mesa Fire Department. Congratulations. Ward has been a paramedic for 15 years. His swift and skillful actions have saved many lives. But his selection by our judges was not based upon his on-scene efforts. His heroism is a tale of personal effort to prevent tragedy. In 1994, on his own initiative and his own time, Ward created a driver safety education program for teenagers. Ward recounts actual accidents in which he has been involved with teenage drivers. He addresses the children through lecture, slides, and video. His message is clear. Don't make the mistakes other students no different from themselves, have made. The students have praised Ward for the impact of his approach and his sincere concern. Ward's program has now been presented in nearly all high school driver's ed classes. The community's gain from this program is immeasurable. I would like to add that Ward was not assigned this project, and he has refused compensation from his department for his efforts. Ward. Now, before I let you jump in here, let me tell you just a little bit about what you've won, because I know everybody's waiting to hear. We want to protect you as best we can, so for starters, we'll put you in the best set of protective clothing possible, courtesy of Lion Apparel. You'll be fitted for a custom set of Janesville Commando-style PBI turnouts with an Aeroflow liner system to keep you safe and comfy out there. And to complete your outfit, ED Bullard is giving you a Fire Dome Freedom TX helmet to protect your valuable noggin. After all this excitement, we're sure you'll want to get away for a while. So with the help of Chief Dan Nicholas and the firefighters of the Grand Canyon National Park Lodges, you'll spend a complimentary 3 days and 2 nights at the Maswick Lodge at the Grand Canyon with 3 guests. While there, the 4 of you will be treated to 2 guided tours of the park, including a 2-hour tour of Hermit's Rest on the West Rim and a 3-hour Desert View tour on the East Rim. A lavish complimentary dinner for you and your guests will be served at the historic El Tovar Hotel. Then, to give you an extra lift while you're at the canyon, you'll receive a Royal helicopter tour for 4, courtesy of Airstar Helicopters. And after you come back down to Earth, don't settle in too long, because you're going to be off to the races, courtesy of Phoenix International Raceway. You're receiving a set of season tickets for the world's fastest 1-mile oval. You'll start the season off with paint-swapping action at the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Phoenix 500. And on October 29th, you'll be the center of attention during a special award presentation at the raceway. Now, don't be nervous, but this race will be covered by TNN and will be seen by over 100,000 racetrack spectators. We also have t-shirts, posters, and more for you, including this item right here that I think will make this moment even more fun for you if that's possible. Ward, our sponsors have gotten together, and we're very proud to present you with this check for $1,000.
Well, as you know, you can see my legs are shaking. I'm very nervous. I feel like I just completed one of Chief Ray's famous high-rise drills. I feel like getting some duct tape and ladder splints to hold my body up. I'm lightheaded, but the only reason I won't pass out is because I know A shift is working, so that's not a possibility. Honestly, didn't expect the program to lead to all of this. I can't express in words how much this means to me. I was hired by the Mesa Fire Department in 1980 at the age of 20. Over the past 15 years, I've seen numerous fatalities involving people of all ages. So many lives that were lost needlessly. The deaths that bother me the most are the tragedies that involve our youth. I started thinking about the program in the early 80s after we responded to a triple fatality accident at Gilbert Road in the freeway. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. A family of 4 was in a Volkswagen and was struck by a teenage driver who was driving under the influence. We pulled the obviously mortally wounded husband off of his wife so that we could work on her. She was still alive, barely. Their two sons, a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old, were ejected out of the back window of the vehicle, died, leaving a 3-year-old in this world by himself. Words can't express the heartache that we all felt that early morning. In the distance, I could see a young teenager standing by his totaled car, completely unscathed. We've all had this young adult about drunk driving. If he only knew the realities of the accident before the accident, and now not sitting in a jail cell thinking about it. I thought about putting a class together, but I blew it off. I feared the students wouldn't listen to me. I was wrong. Later that year, I was transferred to Station 2 to the busiest rescue company in the city. There would be more countless tragedies, more needless deaths. One of the things that bothered me the most was dealing with the family members, especially the parents who would never hold their sons or daughters again, to see the reactions they had when we pulled down the sheet in the emergency room or when we unzipped the body bag on the scene. This was absolutely crushing. These are the tragedies that firefighters are dealing with on a daily basis. This is what we want to prevent. In 1990, 10 years later, I was promoted to captain. After a bad accident, I sat down with my battalion chief, Dave Nichols, and told him about the idea I had to create a safety program for the kids. He's the one who got me fired up. He got me motivated. He gave me the confidence to go after it. So being the young overachiever that I am, I went for it. A man by the name of Dale Hall, who is the head of Mesa Public Schools, driver's education, allowed me to try a pilot presentation at Mesa High School. I have to admit, I was horrified. I was sure that the students would reject me, chew me up, and spit me out. I was definitely convinced of this when one of the older teachers at Mesa High School saw me in the hallway. She thought I was a student and told me to get back to class. So I did. So after all that, I went for it. The students listened to me. They were grateful that I had taken the time to help them. They appreciated and cared for me as much as I did them. Today, we are committed to all 5 Mesa High Schools. Our goal of the program is to prevent injury and fatality accidents to teenage drivers. Our approach is not to criticize or humiliate the students, but to let them know how much we care for them and how much it bothers us to see them die needlessly in tragic accidents. By the response to the students, it is very positive, and we know we are heading in the right direction. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families for the loss of their loved ones depicted in the program. If anything positive can come out of their tragic deaths, it will be that it will save someone else's life. It is important that our youth know how important they are to us. Fallen asleep yet. Thank you to Chief John Oliver. Thank you for submitting this to United Fire. Also, thank you for all that you've done for my family and for myself. We appreciate it very much. Thanks to United Fire, to Dan Matlick. Thank you for all of your hard work and efforts. Thanks for all that United Fire does to make our job safer. And thank you for recognizing firefighters across Arizona. It is truly appreciated and an indescribable honor. Thanks to Mark Bogan with Mesa Police Department, who helped me with the original material. Thanks to the Phoenix Police Department Traffic Division, Sergeant Antonini, and Detectives McCullough, Copeland, and Reyes. I couldn't have done this without all of your encouragement and support. Thanks to news photographer Mike Cooley for his news for the video footage. Thanks to Division Chiefs Dave Nichols, John Geyer, and Paul Wilson for all of their enthusiasm, their confidence, and their support. Thanks to Jeff Flocken and Marie Duncan for all the slides. Thanks to my crew, Engine 213, John Adamski, Mike Dunn, Greg Jones, Jack Heinrich, and Mike Rosette. They've always been there to motivate me and pick me up when I got discouraged. Special recognition needs to be said to the following people: to my beautiful wife, Maria, and my 2 sons, Drew and Dustin, who have sacrificed and spent time without me while I was putting the program together and teaching it. To Leslie Gogler of Fire Prevention, who has spent countless hours coordinating the program. She has worked very hard to make the program a success. To Captain Cliff Puckett for his support and hours spent on the program. To Captain Ed Jones and Paramedic Heinrich, who are now teaching the program, and there'll be others. To Dale Hall and Mesa Public Schools for his and their support, giving us a chance to come into the classroom. And winding down here, a firefighter's job is so much more than running calls and collecting a paycheck. It is vital that we be involved with our communities, with programs to make our cities a safer place to live. It is truly a privilege to be able to give something back, especially to our youth. As firefighters, we must always strive to be the best at what we do. The firefighters in this room today are here to better themselves at what they do, at their profession. My admiration and respect goes to you for your commitment and dedication to the fire service. In closing, I'm very honored that this presentation took place in my hometown, in Mesa, in front of the citizens that I protect and serve. I'm very thankful we have city leaders that place their highest priority in police and fire protection. Their support enables us to deliver the highest level of service to our citizens in an average of 3 to 4 minutes. Our training and staffing levels give us the capability to handle any kind of emergency. This level of service has made the Mesa Fire Department one of the most progressive and respected departments in the nation. I want the citizens of this community to know that in their time of need, Mesa firefighters will be there to deliver the highest quality paramedic and fire services. Thank you again for this, to United Fire. Dan, thank you so much for this most honorable award. I thank and praise God for his many blessings. Thanks for this profession of tremendous fulfillment, to be able to help those in need, for a city that has taken great care of me so that I can provide for my family and make Mesa my home. Last, I'd like to dedicate this program to a good friend of mine who was killed in the line of duty on June 30th, 1986, when his ladder truck was struck by a 26-ton dump truck. It was by far the worst call I've ever been on. We lost one of our finest captains who was dedicated to training in firefighter safety. Captain Jack Stevens, this is for you. Thank you. I just had one last thing I had to say is, remember, always strive for excellence.
Thank you, Ward. Just in closing, I say once again something that is often not said enough. The work you do is vital, and you are truly appreciated. I encourage you to get the most you can from this school here today so that you can give the most back to your community. For while your efforts are beyond measure, your community's gains are clear. Good luck to all of you from United Fire, and remember, life safety is serious work. Be safe.
The lights on for a moment, please. Isn't that something what United Fire has come up with? We also have in the audience Stan Matlick, which is the founder of the company. Stan, if you and your wife could stand up. And the crew. There's a crew from United here too. Scott, don't be so bashful. Gwen over there somewhere. Well, thanks very much. And to United, we not only thank Ward for the fine job, but we thank United for your sponsorship. Thank you. You were going down that list over here, and you were saying these turnouts. I was wondering about that fire truck. But it's been a pleasure for me to lead this thing today. And when you come back from break, Bob Costello is going to be up here to get on with the lead, with the keynote speaker. This break is going to be hosted by the State Fire Marshal's office. It's coffee and iced tea. But what I really got to ask you to do is, we're running about 10 minutes behind. We're going to take a 15-minute break. My watch says 10:03, so if you look at your own watch and get back here in 15 minutes. We do want to give the keynote speaker our attention, and he does have a good message. It's about the Oklahoma bombing. Thank you very much.